kept dropping out. I don't know what's going on. Most bizarre. Just bear with me. Do that. I don't know. It says the orientation's wrong again. That went away a while ago. It's back. Stupid thing. Well, apologies if you went to either of the other two live streams that I set up waiting for it to start. Most bizarre. Are we on? We are on. Excellent. Right. Where do I begin? Well, the good news is we've got a pie. Wild Bean Cafe, and it's their new lamb pie. $7.20 for a pie these days at Wild Bean Cafe, one of the premium. Roger Heaps, good morning. Andy and crew, good morning, Roger. Hope all is well, sir. Purple Monkey 1964, hi, good morning, Purple Monkey. And Jim K, hello, good morning, Jim. What a week it has been. Yes, I went to Gisborne. Now, for those that don't know, Gisborne is the furthest, or the furthest east or easternmost town here in New Zealand, so I believe. It's right over there, long drive, and that's where the sun comes up first, so you don't get a lie in, which is a bit of a pain. And so I started off on Monday, went to Whakatane, not swearing at you, that's what they call the place, Whakatane. I did a visit there and stayed in Whakatane that night. A cold week, lots of frosts, crisp mornings. And then from there went to Opatiki, which is about 40 k's down the road. Takes about 45 minutes to get there. It's pretty windy, lots of speed limits. Did my call in Opatiki and then had the long drive through the valleys and over the mountains to Gisborne. The road used to be really atrocious. They've done a lot of repairs on it, and most of those repairs have failed again. So well done, New Zealand government. So I got to Gisborne, oh golly, what time was it? About 4 o'clock in the afternoon? 3:30, 4 o'clock. I think it was. Wasn't too bad, didn't stop anywhere, just motored on. And bit of admin work. And then, of course, the following day, I then had 2 visits to do. So I was against the clock. Both service agents, not full-blown motorcycle shops, just workshops. And great to see the lads again. One of those is in Gisborne, and then the other one is a bit further down the road at Wairoa, I think it's called. I always pronounce it wrong. And yeah, got both of those done on schedule, rolled into Napier about 5:45, 6 o'clock. It's a fair trek from Wairoa down to Napier. Again, very windy roads. You don't get anywhere quick around there. And most of the week, in the mornings, we've had freezing fog. When I came over to Napier from Wairoa, there was heavy rain, low clouds, not great driving conditions. And a lot of Kiwis, and I'm sure it's the same in many countries, I'm not just picking on the Kiwis, a lot of drivers in this country don't seem to slow down and accommodate bad weather. They just stick at 100 k's an hour regardless. And there were quite a few accidents along that route. Not ideal, to be honest. Luckily, it wasn't me. But I tend to drive pretty carefully, you know. Why would I be in a rush? I'm not, you know. I just get there when I get there. Safety first, or safety third, as Eric would say. And then on Thursday, did my visit in Napier, and then rocked down again over the hills to Taupo and got some lunch. No, tea, actually. I had lunch before I left. Got some tea. And then finally got home about 6:30, 7 o'clock. Maybe a little bit after that. I can't really remember. But busy day. And then Friday was a trip over to Rotorua to go and see another motorcycle shop there for the day. So wheels haven't stopped rolling this week. Been busy. Now, what else have we got? Oh, hang on a minute. Jim K. Hello. Ooh, this is new. What are we talking about, Jim? The picture? JJ, morning Andy and crew. Morning JJ, welcome back matey. Mike Adams, hi y'all. I can't do the accent, sorry Mike. Jim K, not the best accommodations. Now then, talking of accommodation, first night in Fakatani. That's nice spot actually. 188, something like that it's called. Just by a roundabout. It's a bit noisy, bit of traffic, but once it settles down and the police cars decide to go home and stop chasing the hooligans, it wasn't too bad. But Gisborne, Emerald Hotel, great website. Picked the best photos, obviously. Doesn't really reflect the place. Every room that I've had there, I've stayed there a couple of times. Each and every time, lots of little problems with the room. You know, the first time round, the bins haven't been emptied. Really? Second time, this time round, just lots of minor damage and fixtures and fittings that weren't working properly, damaged the walls, you know, all that kind of stuff. Had a balcony, which was really nice, looking out onto the pool of mass algae. Not quite like the photo, right, on the website, all glistening in the sunshine and lovely clear water. No, it was more of a fish pond than anything else. And the latch for the sliding doors was broken. Very hard to lock and unlock. I managed, obviously, but, you know, not ideal. Napier's fine. Stayed at the Quest. Always stay there. Dickens Street, it's on. But yeah, you know, Gisborne's always a difficult one to stay at. There is a really nice hotel, but they've put the prices up and it's outside the budget now, so I can't stay there anymore. But if I could stay there, that's the best place to stay for sure. And a lot quieter. Although it's opposite where they load and unload the timber onto the ships. So they all start at 6 a.m., right? So we all get up at 6 a.m. at that hotel. Anyway, thanks, Jim, for that reminder. Connor K, morning Andy and crew. Hope everyone is doing well. I'm doing all right. The eye is a little bit better. It's still obvious. Hopefully it's going to get better soon, you know. I think it'll take a while, though, to be honest. Mrs. Mechanic's a bit concerned. Doesn't bother me at the moment. It was bothering me before, but it doesn't bother me at the moment. So I just sort of leave it a be, to be honest. Simon, morning Andy and crew. Good morning, Simon. Welcome back to the workshop. Now, we're going to have a little wander around shortly. We'll put the pie in the pie warmer. But I'll give you some advance apologies. It's a bit of a mess in here, but I've been really busy. And as you can see from the thumbnail, that was last weekend's antics, was making up the frame. This is for, well, you've got to guess, right? Those that know. Been making up the frame, super strong. It's going to be mint. But this little project has turned into not quite such a little project anymore. It's become a little bit more involved, and which is fine. That's weird. I'm looking at the live stream, and the ratio for the image doesn't match the phone. My head's now stretched out a little bit. What's going on, YouTube? Come on. Jesus. Unreal. That's all right. We can live with that, but just looks a bit odd. Anyway, so the project is, oh, hang on, we've got some more comments. Mike Adams, lol. Y'all is actually Old English. Really? Scottish-Irish mixed. That was kind of shortened from ye all here in the South US. Well, there you go. So if I pronounce it y'all, or in a Yorkshire accent, I don't know how you pronounce that in Yorkshire. Y'all. I just say now then. And you give a little tip of your hat, now then. And that's it. That's the whole good morning, how are you, and everything all rolled into now then. You know, it's easy. And you can say the same thing when you turn up at the pub at the bar. Now then, what we have, sir? The cider, please. Cider, yeah, pack of crisps. Yeah, all right. Eye, there you go. There's an eye at the end of it. Here's a tenner, mate. There you go. That kind of stuff. I miss all that, I tell you. Where do we get to? Where do we get to? Simon, not a not a go-kart frame. No, it's not a go-kart frame. Oh, for your reference, sorry, Simon, to cut you off there. For your reference, we're back on the original workshop internet, and that's maybe why things are a bit weird. The picture doesn't look too bad. We haven't yet had the cable put through into the workshop, the LAN cable, and the extra booster thing that's going to be in here. So, Wi-Fi thing. It'll happen. The guy's not answering me calls at the moment, so I think Ben will have to do it. Anyway, Purple Monger said for picture makes you look slick. Thank you very much. Cheers. Good job, YouTube. Connor Care, your image is normal watching on a laptop. Maybe it's just my laptop's playing up today. I don't know what's going on. Honestly, IT, right? Who would ever want to be an IT guy? Man, a job for life, isn't it? I mean, it's everything goes wrong whenever it can. 3 times I had to launch this live stream this morning. Only just got it done in time. All set up for like 8:15. Thought, I'll make myself a coffee, head inside. We're all good. Come outside. It's not there anymore. It's gone. Couldn't find it. Set another one up. In front of my eyes, it just disappeared. Seriously, YouTube. So I did one and then went straight to live, and here we are. So things are, it's like Apollo 13 trying to run this live stream sometimes. The Giants. Good evening, Andy and crew. How is everyone doing? I'm doing all right, the Giants. I did cut my finger yesterday. Can you see that on there? I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's in the crease anyway. It's going to be really annoying for a few days. The final crease, the final joint at the end of my finger. You can see the little bit of red. Honestly, it's nothing. We won't worry about it. But I just cut through, and I'll show you later on, I just cut through some really thick steel and was turning it over to take the burrs off, and one of the burrs got me. Honestly, wear gloves when you're grinding. My leather gloves would have saved me there. But anyway, live and learn, or in my case, not. So, going back to the engine stand for Ben, this is what I'm making. I'm going to talk you through it when we go around the workshop, but it's turning out to be you'd think, oh, engine stand, knock it up in a few hours, right? Dead easy. But I'm only ever going to make one, pretty sure of that. And this one, it has to be a lot stronger than the one that Ben's got, because that's crap. So I wanted to include a few extra Andy Mechanic features into this engine stand. Now, obviously, you're going to need to watch the whole video, and it has been filmed. I'm starting day 4. I did sort of half a day last Saturday, I think it was. Did a full day on the Sunday, and then full day yesterday, pretty much a full day, nearly a full day. I had to do some wiring and stuff. Got the plasma cutter fired up. Now we've got the big 40 amp socket. I basically made a little fly lead so I can plug in my 16 amp plugs. And hey presto, we now have the plasma cutter working full bore, full power, which is great. Unfortunately, it's not quite powerful enough to cut the plate that I had to cut yesterday. Bit disappointing, but I was pretty sure. I remember the specs being about 17 mil maximum. This plate is a lot thicker than that. And there's a story about how I got hold of that plate in the video. So I'm not going to spoil the video for you. Where would we? Cigarette's gone out again. God damn it. Now, totally different subject, because I'll cover the features of the engine stand shortly when you wander around the workshop. We're under attack. We are under attack. It's not good. We've got possums living above the roof of the workshop. Did put out a lot of possum bait, which is like a bright greeny blue color, turquoise. And now the possum poo is turquoise. So we know that they're eating it, which is great, but they're not dead yet. Hopefully they'll be dead soon. But this morning, came to use some blue roll, and telltale little Mr. Ratty, little paw prints on top of the blue roll. So we've now got rats coming back into the workshop. It's that time of year. It's been very, very cold for this area. I think we were -3 Monday morning. Icy roads, thick fog, driving to Whakatane. Not a great drive at all. Had to take it real steady. And there were accidents. Went to Rotorua on Friday. Same again. Wasn't quite as cold. Fog, ice. And there was an accident on the road about 30 k's outside Rotorua, school bus and a delivery truck for Tui beer. So I don't know what happened, but a long section of that main highway was closed. We had Mrs. Mechanic came with me for that day. We had a very long, windy little detour down the country lanes. Thoroughly enjoyed the drive, but a narrow road for the state highway traffic. We had big logging trucks thundering down there. It was just an accident waiting to happen. I was being very, very cautious. And the road was icy with very tight corners. So I don't know how long that road stayed open for, but there was bound to be another accident, especially the way some people were driving. So yeah, we're under attack. So I need to get some more bait for the rats, and hopefully the possums will sort themselves out. They seem to like the bait. It's all been eaten, which is great. I've got to top all the baits up tonight before I go inside. And then, well, we should start to see some dead bodies around, shouldn't we? It's a bit of a shame. Why can't they go and live in the field? But I've built them some perfect accommodation above the roof of the workshop in that void to the new roof. So I've only got myself to blame. It was inevitable it was going to happen. Right, where do we get to? Keep going. Mike Adams. I definitely don't want to be an IT guy. Cluey is my two daily drivers are 48 and 26. And 26 years old, lol. Good. Stay away from the new stuff. It's terrible and a lot less reliable than the older vehicles. And that's a fact, so I'm told. It's on Facebook. It's a weird fact. Vijayant, always safety first, wear gloves and protective glasses. I've started again now to for most jobs to wear a full face mask. So many times I've had safety glasses on and things have bounced in through the gap. Full face mask, even then, there's still a risk, right? Yesterday, there was a spark bounced off my shirt and went up behind the mask. You've just got to be super careful and try and keep all the sparks, well away from wherever you are. Don't do what that guy did on YouTube where he's grinding straight into his face. I mean, what a muppet. Seriously, just, survival of the most intelligent, isn't it, really, at the end of the day? Simon, is it a case of if Honda in the 80s made an engine stand? Probably, yeah. It's turning out to be pretty cool. I'm enjoying making it. Ben's not here this weekend. He's not here next weekend. He's just had his birthday. 31 years old. I feel really old now. So it's sort of a bit of a birthday present as well. And because of that, you've got to put the extra effort in. I don't just want to throw it together and make something which just does the job. It's something which I want it to be multi-purpose. There you go. There's a clue for you. And why shouldn't it be multi-purpose, And it's going to have a feature on it which eliminates the problem of sag. Wait for it. It's coming. Vijayant, what is the purple shoe thing next to everyone's name? It's not a shoe. I think, isn't it a crown? I see that as a crown. I don't know. I don't know what it is. You two haven't told me, or I haven't read it anyway. You guys can work it out. Simon might know. Right, Sheldon. Good morning, Andy, Mrs. Mechanic, and crew. Morning, Sheldon. How was golf? All good? Now then, Mike Adams, summertime here. You've been freezing while we've been cooking at between 42 and 43 degrees C. That is roasting hot. I think down in, believe it or not, in just outside Invercargill, a couple of years ago, they got to 42, I think it was, and that was a record. Wow. I mean, Invercargill, that area of New Zealand, gets really, really cold in the winter. Not the coldest place in the winter. That's Ida Valley, where the Brass Monkeys held, or was held. It's finished now. But saying that, I would say Invercargill is one of the places that has the biggest throw of temperatures. It's absolutely incredible, really. It can get down to -5, -10 sometimes in the thick of winter, and right up to the 42. So it's quite a range. Anyway, cigarettes gone, all gone now. Where do we get to? Trying to catch up. Simon, a workshop cat, all it Kawakati, nice. No, I'm allergic to cats. Not getting a cat. Thank you, Simon, for that. Mrs. Mechanic wants a cat. We're not getting a cat. Simon Roll did find out fork oil ignites with a spark. Does it? Are you okay? Is the shed still there? Funny guy. The Giants, happy birthday to Ben. All the best, mate. He's doing all right, actually, is old Ben. We're getting there. Once we get this diesel engine put in his Patrol, he'll be a lot happier. But now that he's got the Patrol that I bought, the Funbus Mark II, he calls it, which is quite hilarious. He's mobile, it's reliable. It just got through the warrant of fitness the other day. Failed on a couple of minor things that he quickly fixed, took it back, and it was all good. Oh, what was it? A loose wheel bearing driver's front. Quick, honestly, like an eighth of a turn on the adjustment, and it was sorted. So the guy's a bit picky, but anyway, it was good. Didn't take long. And one of the indicators is falling out. A screw had disappeared. So he put a screw in, fixed, right? So it's nice and simple. So he's back on the road again with that machine for another 6 months, which is peace of mind. Some great news. Eloise, my youngest daughter, has put down a deposit on a brand new Jimny. I know, it's going to be a white one. And it's the Sierra version, the same as ours. She's very excited. She should be getting that in about 4 to 5 weeks. And she's gone for a few accessories. She's gone for a roof rack and an awning because she does a lot of hiking and stuff. And I said, well, you should get an awning because then you can pull the awning out and you can get changed under there. If it's raining and stuff, you've got an area that's dry. She said, well, that's a good idea, Daddy. We'll get one of those. Genuine Suzuki tow bar, always fit tow bars to vehicles when we get them when they can tow stuff. You never know when that's going to be useful. I'm not too sure how good Ellie will be at towing though, but you've got to learn somehow, right? Stick a trailer on, have some fun. Just don't go too fast. She's used to driving Mrs. Mechanic's little Swift. She's had that for a couple of years now. In fact, 3 years. Nearest damn it, 3 years she's had that. And she drives like a rally driver. When I taught her to drive and gave her all the finer points, and she's got a license, obviously, I made it very clear to her that your tires are your clutch. So every junction she sets off from, she gives it plenty of beans and just basically dumps the clutch and off she goes. A bit of a tire spin and away she goes. Because, she's been brought up in the world of off-roading and four-wheel driving where her daddy has spent much of his life telling people to get off the clutch and stop riding the clutch. So it's been instilled into her and, she knows not to ride the clutch. She's really good at that. But she's going to have to change her driving style for the Jimny because they don't go around corners anywhere as quick as normal cars and they don't stop as quick and they don't accelerate as fast. Their handling is you've got to just be a bit more calm down, Ellie, kind of driving, So hopefully she'll be all right. I wanted to get her another Patrol. Ooh, that could be a possum. Just having a scratch. But she didn't want a Patrol. I said, we'll get you another Patrol. I've got a Patrol family and they're cheap, it's got all the parts. No, I want a new car. That's fine. You want a new car, you're going to get a new car. It's all good. Now then. Did you hear that? Morning, Mr. Possum. I can hear you. You're going to die shortly. I'll bring you some more food, okay? Tonight, I'll bring you some more food. Richard Perry, hi, Andy and crew, GB flag, which is on, I always get it wrong. It's on that arm there. Look, GB flag, big thumbs up. Morning, Richard. Now then, Mike Adams, I've been away a while. Have you been able to patent any of your fabrications? Never know if they could be successful. Very interesting comment. Many years ago, we were in New Zealand. We'd been here maybe a couple of years. Ben was at school and he was doing a project. It wasn't specifically metalwork, but it was something to do with that. Like a business type course. He had to design something. So maybe design engineering or whatever, I don't know. And he had to design something which could have a commercial value. Now, at the time, he worked in a bicycle shop, and so did I think. Anyway, either I just left. And a lot of bicycle racks fixed to the tow bar. That's great, no problem. But once they're on, like with our Nissan Patrol, you can't open the rear door because the bike rack's in the way. It was a real pain because all your gear's in the back of the truck and you end up clambering over the seats and that kind of stuff. So we designed what we called the swing away. Now you can get these commercially now. The industry's latched onto it. This was way before any company had decided, certainly in New Zealand at least, had decided to make something like this. So we came up with a couple of prototypes, and you know it had to be super strong because the stresses were massive. So we ended up making this device that bolted to the tow bar, and it had a bar that came out with a massive hinge. So it went to one side of the car across the bumper, only attached the tow bar, didn't attach anything else, went across the back, had a big hinge, and then went back to the middle again and had a bracket with another tow bar on it, another tow ball, which you would fix the bike rack to. And it had a method of locking it into position. And then when you wanted to move the bike rack out of the way to open the rear door, you pulled this pin, you could swing it out, and the bikes, it would work fully loaded. The bikes would swing out of the way to one side, and you could open the rear door of your car. You know, or Patrol or whatever it was, four-wheel drive. Most four-wheel drives, it blocked access to the rear door. Even hatchbacks and stuff, it was a pain. And even with a normal boot, it was still a pain. So it would have worked on lots of different vehicle types. And we seriously considered patenting it. It was that good. We were so impressed with the third design. The first real one that we tested. And we tested it quite a bit, and it worked brilliantly. Ben took it to school. He got full marks for it. We did him a schematic, some drawings, technical drawings and stuff to go with it. Brilliant. The guy was absolutely blown away. And he's like, yeah, well, my dad gave me a little bit of help, you know. But he was really impressed with what Ben and I had done. And I got Ben to do a lot of the work. And in the end, we didn't patent it, but we did put it on Trade Me, onto like eBay we have in New Zealand, and we sold it. And this is no word of a lie. About 18 months ago, I was driving on the motorway through Auckland, and there was a camper van. And on the back of the camper van was my swing away. It was there with a bike rack and some bicycles on. Initially, I didn't notice. Now, I just saw this black steel lump bolted to the tow bar. And I'm like, oh, I know what that is. So I tried to catch the camper van up, which wasn't hard. I had a good look. We stopped in traffic. And sure enough, guaranteed that was the one that I made. That was the prototype 3. The other prototypes are still here. We've got one that was like that's half made. We'll probably reuse the steel for something else now. But hey, you know, well, how cool was it to see it in use after all those years? Very impressed. So that's probably the closest I've ever come to painting something. And I probably should have done, shouldn't I? But anyway, not to worry. It was a big job making it. So we thought, well, by the time we've fabricated it up and all the welding and the machining and bits and pieces, because it even had a grease nipple on it for the big hinge, you know, it was pretty cool. It probably wouldn't have sold for enough to make it worthwhile. It would need to be made in China, right, to get the price down to be viable for people to buy. Anyway, going to whiz through the comments, then we'll put the pie in the thingy. Sheldon, 2 bad holes killed me. Oh, on the golf. Oh well, first round in about 6 weeks due to being wet. Yeah, it has been pretty wet down there, hasn't it? Happy S43210. When are you having the Tool Girls back? Happy. Don't know, but it will make us all happy if we have Tool Girl back in the workshop. But I've covered this many times in the past. Logistics, cost. The girls have moved on. I mean, Holly's the most recent Tool Girl. She's great. She's got a wonderful job. She doesn't need to come down to cold, dirty workshop anymore and you know, help Andy out. It'd be great if she did come back. And maybe one day she will. But at the moment, it's all just, you know, not going to happen. But maybe it will. There's always a chance, right? Never say never. But there are about 120 videos on the channel with Tool Girls in them. So there's plenty to go at. Simon, seen the perfect bargain for you last week. 2 Daihatsu Hi-Jets spares or repairs, £1,300 are both complete. That would be cool. That would be really cool to have those here. I think shipping might be a bit expensive though. Theo, I learned a lot from you some time ago. The video you made on spark plug gaps and energy under pressure. Cool. I'm not, by no means an expert, so I'm sure there might be a couple of errors in that video, but I just wanted to do a video on that because there's a few misconceptions out there. So I'm pleased, Theo, that you found that helpful. The giant. Andy, don't forget the pie. Right, let's do the pie. Okay, so the pie is, so I'm getting hungry, Wild Bean Cafe. This is one of their new pies. I don't know if it's going to be like one of those short-term special pies or whether it's going to keep going forever. I have no idea. But this one, here it comes. This is a lamb pie. So that's the top. All the tops are color-coded. They put different speckles and bits and pieces on depending on what's inside so that they can tell at the till what they are. I mean, I think they're amazing that they can tell what pie is what. But anyway, structurally, it is absolutely bulletproof. It feels very solid. Okay, to the pie warmer. Turn you around. 3, 2, 1. Boom! Okay, here we go. Pie close up. Dum 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 dum. Keep it in focus. Now, oh no, there's things in the way. Hang on. There we go. Right. In the pie warmer, the only rat-free place in this workshop at the moment, and mouse-free. Okay, the obligatory 23 minutes, it's in. Okay, now I hope the picture doesn't go all grainy and horrible. If it does, it's probably one of the last times it ever will. Oh, we're not too bad. Okay, so it's a bit of a mess in here. It really is. Casters, sorted out the casters. That's what we've got. That's what we're going to use. Biggest and heaviest duty casters I've got. Oh, plasma cutting. Here, I cut this yesterday. If it's going to focus. Came out pretty well. 6mm plate. The smaller disc was my guide that I used the plasma cutter against on one of the little fingers to run it round. Took a little bit. I had to be super careful. So that was a success yesterday. That was great. Drawings. You'll see a lot of these in the video. All sorts of stuff going on. That was yesterday, working out the mount points on the Patrol. I'm trying to find, I couldn't find yesterday, the little plate that goes between the engine and the gearbox, because that's got all the holes in it, and it'll be really good for test fitting to know that the engine and the brackets are all going to work. Work in progress was that. Oh, you can see all the numbers change the further down I get. Bit of a science, and some more dimensions on there. Look, it's good to keep these things for posterity. I'll just turn it over because there's all sorts of stuff here. It'd be great to embed it in the video because these bits of cardboard, my cardboard Eddie design does disappear after a while. We got any more? No, not if you're back. Ah, yes, there's some more on that one. Look. There we go. Oh, we do a bit of angle work as well, which is cool. Okay, so I had to rob the battery out of my filming weldy mask thing for the camera because the battery went flat in my angelometer. That's what I like to call it. Priscilla's doing very well. She's still working fine. Did lots of holes yesterday. Got lots of work to do on that today. More on that shortly. Okay, so if we start over here. Oh, I hope you enjoyed the video on that. That was only the first one. Believe it or not, I've been offered a second machine down in Invercargill, which I'm going to go and have a look at later in the year. Because this one, as you know, has been the catchment here for the fluid has broken off, and of course you can't get parts from it anymore. So maybe I'll be able to make one good one out of two. Don't know. We will see. But this one's working pretty well at the moment. Now, so you've seen over there the main frame. Let's go over here first. So on the main frame, we have a couple of big plates here with holes in, 25mm or something there. That's for a pivot, right? Think about that. Back over here again. That pivot is this here, all right? And, oh God, running around the workshop. This is the pivot bar, okay? So that will nicely fit, oh yes, in there. Look at that, beautiful, okay? Now, obviously, it's going to get some holes drilled and some R-clips or something. But the idea of that pivot is that when this is the vertical piece, all right? And this is the spinny bit here. I've used a Patrol hub, stub axle. I spent most of yesterday making that spacer. That was a nightmare to make because my lathe's tiny. I had to make an adapter, which is oh, 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 down here. There's my adapter. I had to face it off, and it worked brilliantly. Very, very happy with that. It's very useful. I will use that again for other things. So we finally got the hub bolted up. The hub has not been modified in any way whatsoever. The disc is going to go back on the hub, and then there'll be a bit of angle iron up here, and there'll be a pin that goes through. So the disc I'm going to use to lock it in each position so that the engine doesn't rock around. So you can turn it upside down and put the pin back through and things. So that's that. Okay, now you might say, well, Andy, how is that going to stay upright when the engine's on it? Because it's just going to pivot, right? Because this is the vertical piece. I know it's horizontal at the moment, but that's the vertical piece. Well, there's going to be, the plan is, on the side of the frame over here, and I haven't designed this bit yet. This is work in progress. There'll be a couple more brackets, right? That'll come off somehow up here. Remember, the vertical piece is here. And in the vertical piece will be two large captive bolts, which you can adjust out to, sorry, I'll start again. There'll be two brackets up here, again with holes like this, okay? Could have made it all out of one, but wasn't thinking that far ahead. The bar will be up here somewhere, and those bolts will rest against that bar. The idea is as well that you can pull the bar out and then fold that arm down for storage. So it's not permanently up all the time, but it also gives you some adjustment. So if there is any sag on the engine because of the weight, you can tweak those bolts and it'll level the engine. Nice. I like that. Good idea. Well done, Andy. Also, there's going to be some angle iron tacked in either side on the inside of these legs. And I've got some really nice hardwood timber that I'm going to put in there for your drip trays and stuff. Okay, so think about that. I think that's about it, other than, oh, this is the plate. Here we go, look. This is the main plate, which will have the 4 brackets coming off it that bolt to the block of the engine. This is 25 millimeters thick steel. Plasma cutter would not cut this. It did about 2/3. Didn't want to know. So I had to slit disc that last night. That was yesterday's last job. Took me an hour and a half to cut that plate. Unbelievable. So I was straight in the shower afterwards. The remnants, some of the bits, over here, look. So you can see that they've been gas axing the plate. And I managed to obviously slit disc it. But it was a weird shaped plate that I bought. Well, I bought 2 actually. There's one underneath, a bigger bit down there, and these are the smaller bits off the other plates. It worked out pretty well, actually. Very happy. Very happy indeed now that plate's cut, because it was a pain in the ass. It really was. Okay, so that's probably about it for the walk around at the moment. Hopefully the image isn't too bad. The lathe needs a really good clean. It's getting absolutely ridiculous, the amount of swarf that's kicking around. So hopefully I'll get Mrs. Mechanic to give the lathe a bit of a clean up, because yeah, I've been really busy on that lathe the last few weeks. Very, very busy. It's done incredibly well. And my little cooling system for the bimetallic strip works brilliantly. It does need a bigger motor though. I need to upgrade the motor. It's not big enough. It could be a lot better. Right, turn around. Boom. There we go. So, some of the features. One of the features is it's going to have this, the ability to fold down the vertical plate, bracket, tube, whatever you want to call it, the vertical piece. It's got a wonderful, great big bush at the base that came off an old, some old gym equipment that Ben was given from work. It was just next door to his work was an old gym, and they'd thrown a lot of equipment out. And all Ben sees is box section and steel and stuff. So he gathered it up, brought it down, which is great. You know, it's nice to recycle stuff, and it's free, which is even better, because, you know, projects like this, if I was to buy all the steel, man, this would be quite an expensive project. I mean, the plate, that one plate on the hoist that I've already cut out, plus 4 smaller plates that I'm going to use for the brackets that come off that plate that bolt to the engine. I priced that up in Gisborne, and just the steel was $380 plus GST. Then there was labour to cut it out of the plate, out of the main plate, the stock. So probably about $500 they wanted for it. And I was like, I can't afford that. That's ridiculous. You know, it's just stupid. So there's more on this in the video. I won't spoil the video, but I called into a place in Taupo on Friday, just on the off chance, when they put me onto somebody else, and I got what I needed for a bargain price. Absolute bargain. As far as I'm concerned, it was a bargain compared to what the other stuff was. And they were just 2 cut-offs that were all weird shapes that were just sat in the corner of the workshop. And I think they were just glad to get rid of them, to be honest. And they'd have only got scrap value for them, which really isn't very much for steel. Holy crap, it's 9:10. Jeez, where do we get to? Have I got to... I've got to go back. Hang on. Bear with me. Theo. Cheers from South Africa. No problem, Theo. Vijayans. Theo, I'm also from South Africa. You see? Collaboration, teaming up, bit of networking going on. It's great to see. Vijayans. Theo, I'm also from South Africa. Theo, oh my word. Nancy, is that how you pronounce it? Vijayans. Theo, I'm from Alberton, Gauteng. Where are you from? There you go. Sheldon. Patenting something is expensive and difficult. A friend of mine designed a dry brake system for water-cooled race suits for race car applications, and investigated patenting, but it was around $15,000. Holy crap! Well, there was no way that we could have done it then if it was that kind of money. Sheldon, here we go. Go-kart frame. Any progress there? No. None. Oh man, one day I keep getting all these other projects. And to be fair, I hate to say it, but I'm finding it a lot more fun designing and building an engine stand with a few features than fixing a go-kart. I know I could drive the go-kart around the garden once it's done. That'll be fun, but we're a long way off that. So this is for Ben. It's for his birthday. It's got to take priority, right? So such is life. Where do we get to? Simon, Sheldon Rush. Yes, it's got more dust on it. It has got more dust on it. You're absolutely right there. Cheers, Simon. Wade Mayer. Dang, I'm late. I'll have to start over after. Howdy, crew. Morning, Wade. Hope you're all good, matey. Sheldon. Simon laughing his head off. Simon was thinking with the valve machine, it can be adapted to sharpen end mills. Ooh, that could be quite cool. Bill Betts. Good morning, Bill. Welcome back, mate. Hope you're all good. Hey, Andy. Bill from Scarborough here. Is that the same Boxford lathe from Bickley Gate? No. The lathe that we had in basically Richard's workshop at the back, that got sold before I left. There was a gentleman came, I think from Skipton to pick it up, and I think it was a little bit smaller than the one that I've got now. I could be wrong. You know, it's a long time ago. So no, I picked this one up from. God, I got it years ago. It wasn't long after I came to New Zealand. I just felt like I had to have a lathe again. I'm sure you feel, you know, lots of people have the same feeling. Gotta have a lathe, you know. I'm missing my lathe. And it was from a school in Warkworth. Like many schools, they closed down the metalwork department which is a terrible shame. You know, the woodworking department shut down, the metalworking department shut down. And just like at the school I was at, Bootham School in York, they did exactly the same thing. Luckily, that was after I'd done my courses, but my brother, Phil, he didn't get a chance to do any of that. It had gone by then. And they were doing, what was it, like materials technology, they called it, and they were just using plastic and things. I mean, you know, they were doing stuff that was hands-on, but it wasn't like using milling machines and brazing stuff and getting on the lathe and pillar drills and power hacksaws and all that kind of thing. You know, Christ, we used to make steam engines and stuff at school. It was brilliant. It taught you all about tolerances and accuracy and things. Good, really good. I actually didn't make a steam engine. I decided, nope, don't want to make a steam engine. Well, it was a stationary steam-powered engine, okay? I didn't want to make one because I was copying somebody else's drawings. It was already sort of pre-designed. You just had to machine the thing up and assemble it. So I decided I wanted to make a power hacksaw. And so I did. I made my own power hacksaw using box section and angle iron and an old BSA Bantam 175 crankshaft and all sorts of bits and pieces. And it worked brilliantly. I'm very sad to say I left it behind in the UK. It's gone. Never to be seen again, in a skip somewhere probably. And I have got some photos of it though. And my plan is, one of my little projects when I retire, or maybe before I retire, is I'm going to remake it. I'm going to make a copy based from those photos. I still remember a lot of the components and what I used and how I did things. So from my memory and the photos, I should be able to reconstruct it. Will it be any good? It worked brilliantly, and it used standard hacksaw blades. That was one of the design briefs, because at the time a proper power hacksaw blade was really expensive, and I was a poor student. So I wanted to make it use normal hacksaw blades. Plus, I could get normal hacksaw blades from my dad's garage out of the parts department because they had lots and they were all free. So that was a good thing. So, sorry, Bill, bit of a rabbit hole, but hopefully that's answered your question. But great to hear from you, matey. Really is good. JJ, have you fixed the cutting out issue on the Boxford lathe? Well, I've stopped it cutting out, but it requires a bit of air from the airline constantly. It's something which I do need to sort out, but at the moment, it works for as long as I want to work it, and no, the motor doesn't get hot. I worked it real hard. I was doing some machining a couple of weeks ago, and then when I stopped, turned it off, put my hand on the motor, and it was still pretty cool. It wasn't even hot. So the problem is not the motor. The problem is that bimetallic strip, which is integral to the on-off switch. I've got a mate that's an electrician that came down and did the 40 amp supply and a few other bits and pieces. I need to buy a new switch basically and wire it in, or get him to wire it in, something like that. We'll work it out. But at the moment it works. What my biggest concern is getting my main pillar drill going again. I need to refocus on that once I finish this engine hoist. Engine stand. The Giants. Andy, when is the video coming out? Well, I'm still filming at the moment, and there's going to be a bit of editing required because it's over quite a few days. I haven't filmed everything, right? I didn't want to make it. I knew it was going to take a while. Didn't want to turn it into like a 6-episode series because nobody watches that kind of stuff these days. Nobody's got time for it. But I've done filming at various stages through the build. So hopefully it'll be a video with a bit more of a faster pace to it. Interesting, entertaining, and fun, hopefully. That's the plan. About as fun as Andy's videos can get. Wade Mayer, just scrolling down because I'm running behind. Where are we? Oh God, you guys have been busy. Brass bush pivots. A man after my own heart. Did that on my homemade garden tractor scoop. Nice. It's worth putting the effort in, isn't it? Can't beat them. And I was lucky. They were already made for me. They were on a machine that Ben got given. So I thought I can use that. And I've got 2 lengths of inch bar. I think it's bright steel. Well, a bit of it was that pivot the pin for the pivot, and I've got loads more. So a brilliant find. I've got some linear bearings that run on that stuff. So we've got all sorts of wins from that find that Ben got. Simon, the swarf. Fill the roof with it. Anti-rodent. Oh, yes, you could chuck it up there. He'd be well upset, wouldn't he? All these sharp bits kicking around. That'll soon put him off. Sheldon, there's a place in Dunedin. I'll put you onto it when you're down next. Awesome for alloy purchase. Load up the ute on the way home. That sounds like a plan. I'd like to get into welding aluminium again. I did a floor in a cattle truck years ago. Not the whole floor, but I did a few days welding alley on this cattle truck. And I learned quite a bit, but I haven't welded alley ever since. So it'd be good to get back into that. Mike Adams, I'm with you, Andy. The building and mechanical shit is definitely expensive. It really is. But if you want something that's specific to a particular job and a bit over and above something, the stuff you get on the shelf seems to be so minimalistic now. It's absolutely the lightest weight they could possibly get away with making it. And I'm sure they take a few hits on warranty because of it. But overall, they probably still make more money. But making your own engine stand, I mean, it's going to be great. Oh, and one of the other features, which I may not get done before giving it to Ben, but I intend to make, I said multi-purpose. I think Simon mentioned it earlier on. I want to make a tabletop, which also bolts to the stand via the rotaty bit, the hub, and Ben can use that, as a another table for putting parts on and bits and pieces. It'll be plenty strong enough for that, won't it? So, I'll make him up a nice, oblong tabletop with a bracket so it bolts to the main plate, and then it'll be multifunctional and it'll get used a lot more. And I think he'll appreciate that, rather than it be stuck in a corner collecting dust as soon as he's done the engine. It'll have a longer life, I think. And he does intend to get another 4.2 diesel and do a full rebuild on that. It'd be great for him to learn car engines. So I'll be able to help him with that. And there'll be some videos on that, but he's not found one yet for the right kind of money. They're quite hard to find now. They're getting a bit scarce, the old 4.2 diesels. A lot of people put massive great turbos on them and blow them up, which is a terrible shame. So we might have to buy a complete vehicle just for parts and then get the engine out of that. Mrs. Mechanic will go mental, but anyway, another car for the garden. The giant steel prices have gone through the roof. I was shocked to see the price of brass. Yeah, brass is expensive. I bought a 10mm brass rod, 6 meter length, and that was over $200. I think it was. It was expensive. Mike Adams, I just bought a rebuilt 6.6 litre 400 CID engine for my old Ford that's slightly modified. 600 miles on the rebuild. That's pretty good. For $800. That's a bargain, I think, really. Bad part, 3 spun rod bearing. Oh, no. Oh, well, nothing you can't fix. But why did they spin? That's the question. Simon, you may know my full-time job is in a school. Oh, hang on. Did I? Yes, I did. I jumped. Sorry, lads. There's so many comments. You may know my full-time job is in a school. They don't teach the kids soldering now. Just fix things on the side. Really? No soldering? What the hell? John, Mr. Nuttall, make some brake locks for your casters, as you'll find the thing will move as you. It has got them. The 2 big ones. I'll get one. Hang on. Bear with me. So Brandon at Tang Tools was very kind to give me a big box of casters a few years ago. And these ones are the biggest. And I used these when I was making the workstations that are in the office. And they're very, very good. And they've got this brake mechanism here. So you just stand on there and it clicks down. I can't do it here because you need a bit more leverage. And it locks the wheels really, really well. And these are super strong. So they'll be perfect for the engine stand. But no, good point. It does need brakes on it because it's a lot of weight and it's going to move around when you try to torque bolts up and stuff. So you're right. Where do we get to? Exactly that. Mike Adams, I think you're replacing the crank in it with a good one out of my old engine. That's cool, but again, you know, maybe there's a problem with the oil pump, maybe there's a blocked gallery. Who knows why it's spun the bearings? So try and find the primary fail before you bolt it back up. It's getting cold in here. Sheldon, have you got three-phase power in the shed? No, I haven't. $350 per month at work without using a cent of power. Holy crap, that's the connection fee. Definitely won't ever be getting three-phase power at this property. I did speak to an electrician ages ago. The transformer that supplies this house is quite a long way away. Getting three-phase put in would require council consent and a shit ton of money. And of course, ongoing cost, even when you don't use it. So no, we're on single phase and it's good enough for what I need. We manage. Mike Adams. Simon, vocational classes in high school here in the US is becoming a thing of the past, unfortunately. Kids just don't know how to do stuff anymore. JJ, the bimetallic switch has been removed on my Boxford, so as effectively bypassed it, lol. I could do that. I could bypass it. That's a good way I could pull it apart and yeah, work that one out. Maybe. Could do that. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, I suppose it's there to protect the motor, I suppose, but I mean, geez, you know, I think you've got to do an awful lot of work for it to ping. Larry Cox. Hello, everybody. Hello, Larry. That's a new name. Larry Cox, back in the workshop. Welcome to the very small little forum that we have. Oh, I'm catching up. And I think the pie's ready, which is good. Good timing. Simon, got a job of mixed metal in that lot. There was 5 foot of 30mm brass bar. Wow. And a lot of smaller bits. The brass bar is worth more than I paid for the lot, lol. It will be. It'd be great on the lathe as well, all that stuff. Larry Cox, Windsor, Ontario in Canada. My daughter lives in Canada, near Halifax. Charlotte. Mike Adams, I agree that almost everything is just throwaway instead of durable anymore. Some due to profits, but I think also the lack of pride in their work nowadays. I think a lot of it's to do with profits. You know, everything's, you know, whether it's quad bike frames or what, you know, everything's just got lighter and lighter and lighter, a lot less durable, and almost factored into the design is a diminishing lifespan. You know, modern cars lifespan's a lot shorter. Viable lifespan is a lot shorter than the older stuff. Well, how do I know that? Because there's a lot of older stuff still on the road, and people there's a growing number of people. I'm not sure like in the States, but certainly here in New Zealand, a growing number of people that actively seek out the older vehicles, especially in the four-wheel drive fraternity, because they're just simpler and, you know, a lot more durable and reliable in an off-road environment. Modern stuff, you know, like your Rangers and stuff, man, it doesn't take a lot. I was watching some videos of 24/7 four-wheel drive, Australian group, going off-roading, and they tend to pick the older stuff because they're more reliable. The new stuff, man, they go through a river and the dash lights up like a Christmas tree on the Rangers. They just don't like it. There's too much electronics. Just not well suited. I mean, Land Rover had the same problem with the first Range Rover, second generation Range Rover they brought out, was full of electronics and always going wrong. Just terrible. Larry Cox, Andy, is BYD EV cars the real deal? Oh my word. I'm sorry, Larry, but I'm not a fan of EVs at all in general. And when it comes to utility vehicles, utes and four-wheel drives, I don't think EVs have got any place. Again, same YouTube channel, 24/7 4-wheel drive. Give them a plug because they're good lads. They did a towing test on I think it was a BYD actually, Ute. And they said, yeah, okay, it's a little bit cheaper. The results were a little bit cheaper on the highway to run than an equivalent petrol or diesel. Diesel, it was diesel, equivalent diesel Ute, same weight, same towing capacity, and so on. But the minute you put a trailer on it, its range massively diminished. And the trip wasn't really viable over a time front because they had to keep charging the damn thing up. It just doesn't work. And its towing capacity was a lot less because, of course, the Ute itself weighed quite a bit because of all the batteries. So for cars, maybe in cities, maybe don't park it under your house in the garage because it might catch fire. Plus, you've got depreciation to worry about, and if it goes wrong, only certain mechanics can fix them. It's a specialist type of vehicle, although it's becoming more widespread now. But no, an EV vehicle for me, never going to happen. BYD is becoming quite popular here in New Zealand. I see them on the road every day now. Mike Adams, I stepped on the thumbs up on the way in. Good man, thank you. Simon, brass is nasty stuff to turn. You end up covered in it. The way the chips come off like powder, they do. There's a lot of brass chips on the lathe. I did some stuff on brass a few weeks ago. In fact, I'll tell you what it was. Mrs. Mechanic bought an extendable pole for getting rid of cobwebs around the house because there were a few cobwebs. So she bought that, and I'm not kidding, within 3 minutes and 12 seconds, she's broken it. She comes in, and it's broken. And I'm like, what the hell? Oh, I was just tapping the cobwebs off outside, and it snapped. And it broke on the plastic. I said, no worries. Leave it with me. I'll fix it for you. So the tube, I nearly made a whole new pole for her because I've got plenty of pole, plenty of steel pole here. But I thought, no, she'll want it nice and light. We'll try and use the original pole because you can shorten it down and extend it and things. So I made a brass collar to go around the outside of the tube to beef it up with a couple of. I couldn't braze it on or anything like that, so I just put two little set screws in there, to clamp onto the pole, and that beefed the whole thing up, and it worked. And I made an insert that then the head screwed onto, so it worked brilliantly. And she's been using it, so it works. Very happy. But yeah, brass, fun to turn, right? You got to wear your glasses. Got to wear, otherwise, if that goes in your eye, not going to be a good day. Now then, Mike Adams. Hang on, jumped one. Larry Cox, automobiles will be disposable, cars will be EV. If the governments get what they want, I absolutely agree with you. Mike Adams, it's becoming more prevalent here in the States looking for older vehicles across the board. Also because of lack of durability on the new stuff and affordability. Dealerships have seen sales in new ones. Have you missed out a word there? Drop in sales of new ones? There's definitely a drop in sales of EVs, that's for sure. It's not quite what people thought it was going to be. Sheldon, mate of mine made valve seal inserts for his race engine out of copper. Beryllium. Copper beryllium. Have to be careful machining that stuff as it's toxic. Holy crap. Mike Adams, sales drop. Yes. Good. For Giants, the pie, Andy. Let's go and get the pie. 3, 2, 1. Boom. Okay, here we go. Dom, 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 dom. I do like my little workshop. I wish it'd be a little bit warmer today, though. It's very cold. Right, sorry. Bad camera work. Here we go. Has it exploded? No. It's in pretty good order. It's survived incredibly well. Look at that. Right, the only place I trust is on the bag. With Mr. Ratty around, not good. Turning around, 3, 2, 1, boom. Okay. Bit of cold coffee, here we go. Okay. Structural integrity. Very, very good. The base is a little bit squishy, but be careful with that. The top looks fine. Okay, so I'm going in because I'm hungry. You ready? Now, for those that have just joined us, this is a Wild Bean Cafe lamb pie. It's probably lamb and something, but I can't remember what the other stuff was. And it was $7.20. I know, very expensive. Now, the base just gave a little bit as a bit into it. So I'm going to support the base. A bit of pie management. Tastes pretty good. I do like my lamb chops, I must admit. Very nice lamb chops. So lamb's on the list. I don't often have lamb though, to be fair. Not bad. Definitely tastes like a baby lamb, that's for sure. Little sheepies. Okay, so taste. Oh, this bit of cardboard has been done for years. It's just so grubby now. Taste, stroke, flavor, contents. Well, one more. Oh, there's a pea in there. Look, you see the pea? So it's lamb and peas. Okay. It's all right, actually. I prefer my steak, but that's just my preference. So as a lamb pie, of course, it's going to taste of lamb. It tastes all right. The meat quality looks pretty good. Got a nice chunk of lamb there, look, hanging out. I'm going to give it, as a lamb pie, I'm going to give it an 8. Now, all these scores can change as we get further into the pie. Structure fully partless. Let's just give that a little bit longer yet. It might collapse on the base. We don't know. Runnability test. I'll just get rid of that lump of meat. Okay. Nice. Okay. 45 degrees for 30 seconds. There you go. 45 degrees. Pretty near as damn it. Looking absolutely solid. I can't see any kind of movement on that at all. I think we're all good with that. Let's pass. It gets 10 out of 10 for that. Meat quality. Well, it was looking pretty good, actually. Tasting nice. Not quite the size chunks of meat that we see in the steak and cheese pies from Wild Bean. But nonetheless, not bad. If I get a great big chunk of gristle, that really acts against it, or a big chunk of fat, that tends to knock things pretty hard. But for now, proper meat, I think it's pretty good. It could be better, it could be bigger chunks, so I'm going to give them 8. Meat quality is an 8. Well done, Wild Bean Cafe. That's pretty high for meat quality. Pie contents to the pastry, the crust ratio. Well, there's quite a bit of contents going on. The base is very thin, only about 3 to 4 mil thick is the base, which is pushing the boundaries, to be fair. Sidewall on this one is quite thick. On this side, it's pretty thin. So there's an inconsistency going on. And the top's probably about 4 to 5 mil thick. But it feels very heavy. It's packed out with contents. It's not full of like gravy filler, which is nice. So I'll give it a 7 for that one for now, unless we get a big blob of pastry later on. Now, availability logistics. This is Wild Bean Cafe, so BP petrol stations all over New Zealand, very, very popular. And I believe they do Uber Eats now as well, so you can order them online and a chap in a little green car pops down, picks it up for you and brings it to your house. Obviously not available across the country, but in most towns that will be available. So you can order it online. and you can get them whilst driving somewhere as well. Or in my case, you know, rather than eat it there and then, I just saved it for the live stream, brought it home and reheated it, and it tastes great reheated. No problem there. So they are readily available. I don't know for how long, but today they are. Now, there aren't BP petrol stations all over the country. There are some areas that don't have them. So let's give it a 9. Okay, pastry taste rating. Well, there's a big chunk of pastry here, so let's have that one. Okay, just pastry. And Wild Bean Cafe pastry is normally pretty damn good. It's properly cooked. And the sidewall pastry just tastes like pastry, to be fair, so it's not bad. The top has got some seasoning on it. You can see in there, look. So, pastries as expected. I'll give it an 8. Got some big scores going on at the moment. Now, still tasty when cold. Not too sure about lamb cold, to be honest. For me, probably not. Some people might like cold lamb. What was that? Was that Mrs. Mechanic? Might have been. So, let's leave that one until I get near the end, because I'm not too sure on that yet. Now, packaging design, easy one. Paper bag with some printing on. Something tasty. Sounds good. Wild Bean Cafe logo. Cheap and cheerful. Same bag for every pie. Blah, blah, blah. You could knock that up in 5 minutes on Photoshop. Not a problem at all. It's not the best packaging we've seen, let's face it. It's convenient for what they do. Mind you, they sell Dinkin' Donuts and they come in a nice box, so I mean, they could do better. So let's give them a 5. I think a 5 for packaging design. Recyclable score. Well, we know it's paper, and it's not lined paper. There's no plastic liner in it, but they don't tell us it's recyclable, so they lose a mark for that. So it's 9. Okay, nice quick score there. Post pie heartburn. Well, lamb does give me a bit of heartburn normally, but hopefully we'll be all right. Now, that looks like potato. What do you think? Tastes a bit like potato. I think it is. Lamb and potato pie. Who would have thought? Nice though. And let's face it, potatoes, mashed potato, is a lot cheaper than lamb. So why not put some in the pie and put less lamb in it, right? Okay. Pie servo attractiveness. So, yes. It was a middle-aged lady that served me. They're always very nice. This is the BP in Rotorua that I bought this from. So there's a team of staff, some making coffee, some on the tills. As an environment, felt very welcome. They're always very smiley and stuff. I'll give them a 7. I think 7's fine there. Okay. Structure Folly Partners. It survived very well, so we'll give it a good score for that. Maybe down 1 for the base. It was a bit flexy. So we'll give it 9 for the structure. Still tasty when cold. With the potato in there as well, I think that's just tipped it down for me. I'll give it a 5. I think 5's been generous, really. but only really because it's got proper meat in it, I think. Okay. Only 2 scores to go. Stuffability. Well, we're nearly there. Okay. So at this point in time, no burps, no heartburn, no nothing. It's done really well. Gets full 10. Full 10 on that one. Okay, last bite, and then we can do a stuffability test. Well, to be fair, I'm not hungry anymore. I'd have rather have had more meat and less potato, but I didn't put the pie together. That's my only comment really on that pie. Not too sure about peas being in there, but hey, you know, another filler, right? Peas are cheap. Am I stuffed? Yes. Do I want something else to eat? Maybe a little bit. Maybe some toast. About 10 minutes would be good. So, 10 or 15 minutes. Stuffability score, 8. I think an 8. I think having that potato in there just sort of, I want more meat, you know? So, have we got all the scores? Let's have a quick look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We have. We can do some maths. Turn you around. 3, 2, 1. Boom. Nice to have a pie in the workshop. In the workshop again. That was a burp. We have to lose a mark. Okay, so can you see all the scores? Just about. So post pie heartburn is now 9 because there was a burp. Okay, so we've got 17, 27, 35, 42, 51, 59, 64, 69, great number, 69, 78, 87, wow, we're getting up there, 87, 95, 102. 102. That's a good score, actually. Oh, there's somebody at the door. Let's find out who's at the door. Look, who knows? Oh, fresh coffee. Oh, was it Sunday dinner? Lamb Sunday dinner? Ah, okay. Well, there you go. I found out something else. Okay, turn you around. 3, 2, 1. Boom. Mrs. Mechanic has just informed me, not only just given me a fresh coffee, thank you very much, Mrs. Mechanic, she's just informed me it was sold as a Sunday dinner pie, lamb. That's why it's got potato and, of course, peas and bits and pieces. So that makes more sense. Right. Let's go and see where it turns up on the board. Turn you around. 3, 2, 1. Boom. Okay, so we've got Wellbeing Cafe, lamb pie, $7.20, very expensive, 102 for the score. So, damn, right, 102, where are we? Okay, so it's equal, oh, with 3, so it's equal with the Baker's Son Steak and Cheese, Wellbeing Cafe Classic Steak. You see, that's only a classic. That's about $5.60, maybe $5.80 now. Slightly smaller pie, same score. Wellbeing Cafe Eggs Benedict, 102. Wow, so it's definitely up there. I mean, it's in the top 10-ish, isn't it? Well done, Wellbeing Cafe. You've done it again. Another high-scoring pie. Not a sponsor, by the way. Okay, back to the bench. A few more comments. Another cigarette. Finish my coffee. and then we'll call it a day because Andy's got work to do. Turn you around, 3, 2, 1, boom. And we need to sort the camera out because it's all over the place. We are now 1 hour and 18 minutes into the live stream. By the looks of it, something like that. 19 minutes. That'll work, just about. Don't mess with the camera, Andy. There we are. Okay, so comments. Where did we get to? Get rid of the pie stuff. Don't need that. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. Nasty stuff. Disposable. Prevalent here. Sheldon. Done that one. Toxic. Sales drop for Giants. The pie. Right. Simon. If you want some brazing rod and silver solder, I'll pop some in the post. That was in the job lot too. Won't post the flux powder there. No, I think flux powder might be a problem getting it through customers and things. They might wonder it, maybe think it's something else. Yes, pop me some to one side, Simon. It's not often I do much brazing and stuff, but it'll be very useful in the workshop. But don't send it specifically yet. There might be other stuff in a couple of months' time to send over as well. So we'll bundle it up maybe because I'm not in a rush for it. Mike Adams, I ran out of room for text. Mike Adams, looks like the pie is holding its heat well. It's quite cold here. I had a shower last night, and the hot water, obviously the power was in high demand. The electric yesterday, everybody's home weekend, putting the heaters on and stuff. And of course, here in New Zealand, the power companies have the ability of turning off your water heater whenever they so choose. So my shower wasn't very warm, but it still filled the bathroom with steam. So I thought, oh, this is going to be great. Nice hot shower, get all the grinding dust off, wash my hair that hasn't been washed for about a week. And it wasn't that hot. Normally I've got to put a bit of cold on as well to cool it down so it doesn't destroy my skin and, cause it all to burn and flake off and things. But the shower last night, no cold water required. It was just the hot straight out of the tank. So a bit disappointing. How do we get onto that? I've forgotten now. So yes, the pie, it's pretty cold in this workshop, so that's probably why it was steaming. It was okay. I could have done to have eaten it straight out of the pie warmer, to be fair. Well, maybe would have been slightly better. But it wasn't cold and it wasn't just tepid. It was started off pretty good, but it soon got cold. Now then, John Nuttall, did you find a user manual for the valve machine? I have looked for one, but with no luck. I haven't yet, John. I've found user manuals for similar machines, both Black & Decker and other brands, but not one specific to that model. And that model was quite popular. Looking online, there seems to be quite a few of them around the place, and there's a few other YouTube videos on people that have got them and using them. Some of the videos are entertaining, not a lot of information in it. Some of the videos are pretty crap, but that's okay because that's YouTube. Obviously, now we've got one in the workshop, and once it's all up and running properly, there'll be another video covering, and we've got to do some work on the little DR200 anyway. So we'll be refacing the valves and stuff using the machine then. And by that time, I'll know a lot more about the machine and hopefully know a lot more full stop, because it's sort of new to me. I mean, I've never really done that kind of stuff before. So, but it's great to learn new things and to take you guys on that journey and for you to contribute as well, because, you guys are pretty clever. You make me look really stupid sometimes, which is fine. I know you don't mean to do that, but, and I have to accept the fact that every day is a learning day and I don't know everything and I never will know everything. And in some particular areas, I know very little and I know that and I accept it. It's fine. Oh, found a bit of pie. Nice. Right. John Nuttall, from what I can see, the grinding wheel is the same on each side. The broken one is incorrect on yours. Yes and no. there is a wide selection of grinding wheels that you can fit on that right hand side, which is for the Black & Decker for different applications. Not too sure what I'm going to fit on that end yet. It may be another tapered one, it may be a normal one. I might just end up with a handful of different ones. I don't know yet. I'm coming across different feedback, different stuff about that machine, so I can't really confirm whether it was an incorrect wheel or not. I think it's an option. Simon, if it's potato, it's a cottage pie. Cottage pie. Is cottage pie lamb? I thought cottage pie was beef. Could be wrong. Right, Simon again. Remember my last 69. Here we go. The next day, I thought I'm a goner here. Crap joke, I know. I remember my last 69. The next day, I thought I'm a goner here. Crap joke, I know. I don't get it. I actually don't get the joke. It must be that bad. I don't get it. Simon, it's the hive mind. We all have input, and sometimes it's an moment. It's exactly right. There's so much stuff that we don't know. So much stuff that's specialist. So much stuff that, you know, as a mechanic, you tend to specialize in one area, or, you know, machining work is different to being a mechanic. Very different. Oh, it's nice to have a hot coffee again. Thank you, Mrs. Mechanic. Appreciate that. She's got a headache today. I know. Not ideal. Only in one eye, though, she says, which is a bit weird. Okay, where do we get to? Mike Adams, none of us know everything. We each have our skills and our skill levels. That's why we come here, to converse and learn from each other. Oh, Simon, I've got it. Thank you, Mike. I got it. Yeah, I totally agree. Oh, gonorrhea. I'm a goner here. Gonorrhea. Right. There you go. Simon's brought the level of this conversation down to a new low. Thanks, Simon. Funny joke, though. I get it now. I really get it. Okay, so what's the plan for the next week? Well, today, as you know, I'm going to keep working on the engine stand, and I've still got next weekend to get it finished. So I'm you know, because I'm not under any kind of real time constraints at the moment, I'm not feeling any pressure. I tend to just bumble along at my own pace and tend to try and do things the best way I possibly can. You know, for example, that spacer ring that sits behind the hub, between the hub and the vertical piece, sure, I could have just chucked some washers in there to space it out. Not a problem at all. But it wouldn't have looked as good. Now it's got a really nice, perfectly well machined steel plate in there as a spacer plate. It looks a lot better. Probably exactly as much function as the washers, but it looks a lot better. And that's what I wanted, because it's a prominent part to the tool, and it needs to look good because it's for Ben. And I'm trying to set him an example. This is the standards that I expect from myself, and hopefully over the forthcoming few years, Ben will then step up to those standards, and he'll want to do things to that kind of standard. Hopefully, I don't know. It's his choice, but at least I'm sort of, you know, doing things the right way, not showing him. I mean, he's seen plenty of sort of, you know, quick fixes that I've done over the years as well, but this is a nice little project, and it's something which will last pretty much forever. You know, certainly see my time out, and probably Ben's time as well. Gonorrhea. What you like? Anyway, Monday morning, reasonably early start. Got to drive up to Moronsville. Can never pronounce it right. And I've got a visit up there at a motorcycle shop, and then I make my way up to Auckland, and I'll be in Auckland all week, Monday to Friday. So arrive probably late afternoon Monday, and then leave about Friday lunchtime, 1 o'clock-ish, to get home for tea, which would be nice. I've got stuff to do every day. So Tuesday is get the ute serviced. It's now overdue a service by about 300 kilometers. By the time I get it up to the service provider, it'll be, I don't know, 600 Ks overdue, something like that, 700 Ks overdue, something like that, which is fine. It's not a lot, right? And then they can get it serviced. I did notice that when they fitted the wiper blades the last time, the driver's side wiper blade is not correctly positioned in the arm. So when it's on full sweep vertically, it actually rubs on the roof of the vehicle. It goes well off the glass, well over the windscreen sort of area, and onto the paint. And if it's left as it is, it'll eventually wear through all the paint, and then we'll have a rust spot. And then, well, you know, I do care a little bit, so they need to fix that. Anything else wrong with the utes other than the fact it's an Isuzu ute and it's crap and it's really annoying and it has lots of bongs and noises and Bluetooth. I've been listening to Spotify quite a bit because radio in New Zealand's crap, and on a regular basis the Bluetooth drops out and you've got to go onto the screen, which is bad when you're driving. Go onto the screen, turn Bluetooth off, turn it back on, and then it works again for the next half an hour or whatever. So whether it's a fault, you know, software fault on the car, I don't know, I'm not an IT guy, but it's just annoying, you know. And I've also missed a lot of phone calls because sometimes I'm not listening to tunes through Instagram, through Spotify, and I don't realize my phone's on silent in the car because don't use your phone while driving, obviously, and it's no longer connected to the car, so the call doesn't come through, which is really annoying. That's bad for business. So another reason to have a Ranger, right? You know, never that problem on the Ranger. It was always super happy to connect to my phone. And also much quicker connecting to my phone when I got in the car. Whilst on a call, it would switch across the car really quick, whereas the Isuzu, nah, it could take 2 minutes to switch that call across. So I don't know what the problem is. It's just rubbish. What else have I got to do? I've got an internal audit meeting. I've got a site visit to do at a place that assembles ROVs. Going on to see them. I've got my 6 monthly appraisal. That'll be fun. Yeah, not going to get into that. I could talk about that all day long. Anyway, Jim knows what I'm talking about, if you're still there, Jim. Now, that's probably about it. Get home Friday night and then Saturday, Sunday back in the workshop and get this engine stand finished and the video finished, because I can't put the video out until the video's finished and edited. So it's going to be a few weeks before it hits the channel, which is a bit of a shame, but it's a big build video, so it does take time. Mike Adams. I'm forced to having to teach myself to quit rushing on projects because my 53-year-old brain and hands don't cooperate with each other like they used to. I'm the same to some extent. I like to just slow down, and when I'm designing something, I like to design it as I go along. Now, that doesn't always work. Sometimes it's better to sit down and do all the drawings and think about it and then go into the design, like I did with the workstations. But with this, I quite enjoy solving the problems as I go along. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean you've got the best final design for the first build. Obviously, it's going to work, and you've incorporated things that you maybe wouldn't have thought about when you were just doing the drawings. But like with those brackets, you know, for the upright, the two plates could have incorporated the second holes as well. I could have done it all in one piece. But hey, that's part of the learning curve and part of the fun of making things on the fly and solving problems as you come along. You know, how are we going to do this? I want to incorporate this, but how am I going to adapt it to suit that? So things do take a lot longer when you're doing it that way. That's all right. And I do hear you, my brain is nowhere near as quick as it used to be. And to be fair, when I was, I'm not making excuses, but when I was 15, I got meningitis. I know, it was pretty serious. Mum was quite concerned. And I was bedridden for a couple of weeks, and I was hallucinating, and there was all sorts of shit going down, right? It was just weird. And ever since I recovered from that, my brain has never really functioned as quick at calculating things, or looking so many steps ahead. I used to be really good at visualizing things in my head before I made them. And I made a lot of stuff before I was 15. I made a power hacksaw, that kind of thing, and it was great. But post meningitis, I don't know, it seemed to have an effect. That's all I can say. So I've just got to be a little bit more, is this the right way of doing it? Is this the best way of doing it? If I go down this path, am I going to hit an obstacle? Oh, like yesterday. In fact, I'll turn you around. 3, 2, 1, boom. Let me show you this. Okay, so one more thing on the engine stand. So we now know that Andy really struggles to cut inch 25mm thick steel plate. The original plan was for the steel plate to sit on this mating surface here of the hub, but it would mean cutting out a circle from the plate, right? I can't do that. The plasma cutter won't do it. I'm not going to inflict a hole saw that size through so much steel on Priscilla. It will not do her any good at all. So the plate now is going to sit on this surface here with some spacers. So it's going to be held on with all those 6 bolts. And plus the added benefit is it now seals off the end of the hub. And it uses these 6 bolts as well with spacers. So this plate will be held onto the hub with 12 bolts. Wow, that's super strong, right? And the added benefit is it seals off the hub. The only downside is I now need to make 6 spacers on the lathe out of that bright steel bar, which is some more of that, which I've got plenty of, which is fine. But the benefit is I don't need to try and hack out a big circly clearance hole out of the plate, which would look messy. So, it's a win. I came up with that while I was asleep last night. Why didn't you just do that, Andy? Simple, right? There we go. Right, back to the bench. Finish my cigarettes, and then we can all get some work done. Okay, comments. Where do we get to? Are we there? There we are. Simon, hang on a minute. I got a bong on mine. I thought you were thinking of the other kind of bong. I got a bong on mine. ABS fault. Well, that's staying on for a year. It passed the MOT the day before. It can stay as it is. I don't care. It works, right? It's all that matters. Good man. That's the way I like it. It's not mission critical, so we'll ignore it. Wade Mayer, picture of homemade bucket sent to Facebook. 4-year trial and error. Still tips too fast. Keep forgetting to fix it. Let's have a look. Hasn't come through, Wade. What's going on there? Okay, apologies. It hasn't popped through. It hasn't popped through on my Facebook. Oh, here we go. It has now. Right. There you go. I'm sure Wade won't mind me showing people. There you go. That's the bucket that he made for the front of his tractor. Very nice. Hey, good job, mate. There you are. Bit of a close-up. One of the sides. Oh, yeah. Pretty cool, mate. Pretty cool indeed. I must admit, having the ability to dig stuff and pick things up with a tractor is super useful. Trevor the tractor is brilliant. I'm so pleased that I decided to buy Trevor. And the better news is, after all the hard work over the last 4 years, Trevor will be paid for in September, I think it is. So not too far away. And then I can buy something else. Don't tell Mrs. Mechanic. Might be a Unimog. Might be, might not be. It'd be quite nice to have a few months where I haven't got that kind of money going out, just to recover and just, you know, have a few easy months, and then maybe next year we'll look at getting something like that. So thank you, Wade. Appreciate that. Okay, crew, I think we're probably about there. Yeah, oh my word, we've gone over time. Got another one. John Nuttall, don't forget the bar. You will need to turn the engine as you pin in orientation. Yes, Ben was saying that. How are we going to actually physically hold the engine? Well, I've tried to make the what do you call it, center of mass of the engine more central to the rotational point, the pivot point of that hub, so that it should be more equally balanced, because at the moment it's extremely heavy to try and rotate the engine. It's well off center. So yes, it's adjustable, and no, we didn't and I'm sure we could make it better on the current stand, but the current stand's crap, right? So I've tried to accommodate that in the size of the plate and the arms that are going to go on. So we've got a bit more adjustment, so we can basically drop the engine down in relation to the pivot point compared to what it is now. That's the plan. So you're absolutely right, and there will be, somehow we're going to come up with a plan to be able to put a bar into I don't want to weld to the disc because it's cast and it's crap. It's a bad thing to do. But come up with some method of rotating the engine. I'm not too sure how I'm going to achieve that yet. Also on the upright, the big box section upright, I'm going to weld on a couple of handles so you can actually move it. You've got some more leverage for moving the thing around, especially when it's a trolley as well. You know, it'll help for that. Simon, buy a can plasma table, the money you can make. Oh mate, I know I should do a CAD plasma table. Yes, I should do that. Wait a minute, beats shoveling 1,000 to 1. I bet it does. It does, and that's why Trevor's got a backhoe on as well. It's great. John Nuttall, slots in the disc looking good for that use. It could be, possibly. Yes, could be. I could drill the disc and put some tube through the disc. I'd be happier doing that. So a bit of tube welded to a bit of plate and then bolted through the disc to give us that. And there's plenty of room on the disc to do that because I'm only putting 4 holes in for the location, the locking pin. So maybe it's all extra work, right? But you've got to plan this kind of stuff because you've got to make it easy to use. That's the thing. And be able to use on your own, hopefully. You know, rather than, Dad, can you come and help me rotate the engine again? You know, because I might not be here. That's the thing. But yes, John, food for thought. I'll plan my attack on that one. Okay, crew, we're there. That's it. Thank you very much for joining me today. Another 100. I don't know how many live streams I've done now. There's so many of them. But it's been great fun, as always. Bit cold in the workshop, but it's time now for me to crack on and get some more work done on this engine stand. And yeah, the video won't be out for a little bit. I think we'll probably end up having another live stream before the video actually hits the channel. Probably. Okay, crew, stay safe and appreciate all your help. Great conversation as always, and for your support. Cheers, crew. Over and out.